When was the last time you touched cash? We tap a card, tap our watches, tap our phones, make a transfer, hit a link. For the most part, we don't use much cash anymore. But we told ourselves it was convenient. But really, what it has done is we have to give someone else permission to allow us to make transactions. Today, we're going to talk about, is the mark of the beast being built today? But we're not going to just follow what some people have said, because many churches and some people have gotten it wrong. I'm going to take some time and break down what that actually means, what the mark actually means. But then my son is going to share with us the receipts of what is happening today, so we can see what is going on in the real world with verifiable, real evidence, the receipts. But then we're going to take you to what you need to do and how you need to prepare for what is coming, what the Bible says. And you need to hear all of that to understand the mark, the receipts, and how you can survive in a changing world. This is Wake Up. Let's go to work.
Hello, welcome to Wake Up Monday, Season 10,
Yeah.
Episode 4.
Yeah.
See, I emphasize the Season 10.
Man, we got a great topic today.
It is. There's a lot of different sources from the news and stuff that's going on all across the world, America, Europe, everywhere else. Because if you're talking about China, you're really talking about Africa now. Most people don't even know that.
That's correct.
Because if it's happening in China, China basically owns Africa in many instances, which is unfortunate.
It is the new colonial power.
Yeah.
Not only Africa and a lot of South America also.
Mm-hmm.
They've done that.
They've quietly infiltrated.
So I really believe that it's important when people that are watching, that they get the phases, because you won't understand. I want them to understand the mark. Mm-hmm. And then to understand the mark and what that means, and then go through the receipts, and you're going to do that.
Yes, we got a few news articles. You can search them up and see what we're talking about.
Yeah, and then look at those receipts of what's happening, because the truth is, I'm going to say it from the beginning, the mark of the beast is not here. We don't know if the Antichrist is here, but we do know the spirit of the Antichrist, according to 1 John 4. Anyone that says that Jesus did not raise from the dead in the flesh is an Antichrist, and the spirit of Antichrist has been here for over 2,000 years.
Yes. That means on TikTok Live, there's a lot of Antichrists. There's a lot of people that say Jesus didn't, which is crazy. They like Jesus didn't exist or raised from the dead. It's like, historically he exists. If you believe in Aristotle and Plato and Pythagoras for that reason, then Jesus exists too.
Yeah, Josephus, a Jew who was not a believer in Christ, who documented all of this. There's so much. There's a plethora of information. And you mentioned that if that's the case, the first Antichrist was the king.
One of them was King Herod. King Herod was
Herod.
The first one, because he was rejecting the king that was to come.
And he literally set out to kill Christ.
Set out to kill Christ.
He was against Christ.
He didn't want him to raise from the dead.
And Antichrist would be against or to replace Christ. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to be the king. He wanted that. So before we get to the headlines, which will be very startling, because most people, especially in America, watch censored news. Yes. And we're uncensored, unbought, unbossed. We're not in allegiance to any political party or anybody like that. But we got to look at the theology before we look at the headlines. And that's a non-negotiable order, because once we look at the theology and understand the theology, you understand the headlines. Yeah. And there are a lot of church folks who, first of all, will tell you, or who will say they don't read the book of Revelation. Mm-hmm. They don't read it at all. Don't listen to them. Revelation 1:3, it tells us that it's the only book that has a promise for blessings for reading it. Yes. And so I remember someone in the church where I was pastor and said, I'm just afraid of Revelation. But the person who dares to read it comes out with a blessing. But if it's scary to you, you got to read it. There's a spoiler. It's not a cliffhanger. It's a spoiler. At the end, Jesus wins, we win. So you got to read it like you're watching a movie when you already know the good guys win. Mm-hmm. You already know they're going to win, and you can come out and the ending is no doubt. The tension is real, but the ending, there's no doubt. And if that's the case, that reframes everything. So so first of all, we read the book of Revelation, and then there are other prophetic books. There's Daniel, there's Ezekiel,
Yes.
and understanding the rapture and the coming of Christ does not start in Revelation or in the New Testament. It's throughout the Old Testament, from Genesis 3:15 all the way to the end of the book of Revelation.
Yes.
But the interesting thing is that when people talk about the mark of the beast, and that's what we're talking about today, many people get caught up in the number 666. And yes, there are demonic people who mock it. There are people who use it. But I had a friend of mine, I would say a friend of mine, who told me they knew somebody whose phone number had the number 666 in a row, and they told him, you got to get rid of that phone number.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Or if you get 666 likes on a post,
right. Yeah, that's a problem.
scared.
No. But the mark is something different than what people really think it is. The Greek word that John uses, or that God uses when it's written in the book of Revelations, is charagma. And the word charagma, in the Roman world, charagma was the official stamp connected to the emperor. So there's a stamp put on money. His name, it was his image, just like our money. Anywhere you see the money, there's the name, there's an image, you know it's official. It's what made money, right? You couldn't draw a dollar. Like, I couldn't get a piece of paper and draw a dollar on a piece of paper and go expect to buy something, even if I draw it nicely. Yeah.
Banks used to do that in the 1800s.
Okay.
Money used to look totally different.
Well, they fixed it because then you could easily counterfeit it. As a matter of fact, you can't do that, and they couldn't do that in Rome. So currency needed to really seal the one who is in power. You show that this is based and backed by the government.
It has the ridges on the side, so you know it's not being shaved.
Exactly. So there's no seal. If there's no seal, there's no commerce.
Yeah.
Now here's the end game. In the final system, when there's sought to be control, they take the seal off the money, the charagma, and they put the seal on you. So it is not just a number or a seal that's put there. It could be a barcode. It could be anything. 666 could be a barcode.
It could be a brand.
It could be a brand. It could be anything. But the seal is put on you, which means you're commodified. You become the currency. Your hand or your forehead carries the stamp of the one in power. It is allegiance to that power. That is why once you receive the mark, you cannot be saved, because you have given allegiance, and your allegiance is the thing that's being certified, which means receiving the mark is not just a banking decision. It's not just about money. It is worship.
Yes.
Right? And the mark declares whose image you belong to. Now, we're already made in the image of God, the imago Dei, right? So the mark of the beast is not primarily just a chip or a number. It is a counterfeit claim over property that has God's name on the deed. So it's the enemy counterfeiting, saying you belong to me, taking property that belongs to God. That's very important to look at, because the evidence that you're about to show, there are many people who say, oh, Mark 666 don't get 666, but it's allegiance, and that allegiance is hugely important.
Like scripture says, Paul says, don't worry about the circumcision outside the body, worry about the circumcision of your heart. And so the mark is basically the circumcision of the of the worldly things, or of the Antichrist. So whose circumcision are you a part of?
That's exactly right. I'm glad you said that. And I want to be your pastor for a minute. Those of you who are watching, and I pray you're sharing this, because this is hugely important so people understand. Everything is not the mark. As bad as the shot for COVID was, and as bad as people were complicit in it and deceived about it, the shot was not the mark, right?
No.
Your debit card is not the mark.
No.
Your phone, as jacked up as your phone is, and is tracking you and tracing you and doing all other things, it is not the mark. Anybody teaching that is not reading carefully. They're somewhere else. The mark comes with the Antichrist and during the tribulation period, and is attached to open worship of him. So if you took the medication, God can heal you from the damage that has been had, all the things that we have found that has come out, especially in the Fauci hearings, things that he said that people now know were lies, all of that, which we don't talk about, and people want to censor actual doctors for helping people, but that was not the mark. Here's my simple country preacher wisdom. I'm just a country preacher just trying to make it. You don't know what the mark will look like. We don't know what it looked like. Mm-hmm. So settle this principle now. My body carries one owner's image, and he is not electing officials down here to put his stamp on us. So if there's somebody trying to put something on your right hand or your forehead, God has not deputized that person to do it. All right. And so that's just kind of that's the first thing to understand. The mark is not it is a sign of allegiance. It's a sign of bound to people. Another thing before we get into, because it's very important that the facts that you have before we get into that, in Revelation 13 verse 13 to 14, we see the second beast, the beast from the sea. Right? Mm-hmm. This is the false prophet. He has horns like a lamb, and when he opens his mouth, he speaks like a dragon. In Revelation 13, it says he performs great signs, even fire from heaven. By those signs, he deceives the whole world.
Which is funny, because it's going to take them that long to do what Elijah did with God.
Yeah, yeah.
for Ahab. It's going to take that long for Satan to mimic the exact same miracle.
That is. So Mount Carmel, it took you that long. Your God must have been asleep. But the challenge is today, we're fooled by signs, miracles, and wonders. But signs, miracles, and wonders don't prove anything for God.
No.
They prove nothing. They do not prove anything. As a matter of fact, in Deuteronomy 18, it says that if a prophet does signs, miracles, wonders, and speak things that's Deuteronomy 13. A prophet does great things and speak things that are true. Yeah. But he does not point to the living God. Do not fear him. So I just want to think Judas walked with Jesus for 3 years
and performed miracles because he sent him out too.
Yes, he performed miracles, but he still sold out for silver. Yeah. So him being exposed to miracles. Some people say if we had more miracles in church, everybody would be saved. Man, people watch Jesus. They watch Jesus raise Lazarus from the dead and then go and want to kill him the next day.
And that's not biblical either, because when they saw Jesus perform miracles and feed them, people were following him to eat.
That's right. Like,
he said,
feed us again.
y'all just want to eat.
And when he didn't feed them, they left them never to come back again. Then he asked the disciples, where y'all going? Where we going to go? We stuck with you.
We fishers too. I mean, we can get our own food.
So it's important when you got pastors talk about you can say abracadabra and do magic. That's a whole topic. Shame on you, pastors, saying that that's if it was Arabic, what that got to do with us? But it's not. But power without the word is not proof of God. Yeah. It is the word. In the last days, power without the word is bait. And we know we're in the last days because people are throwing out powerful things, but it's not the word of God and it's bait. And watch the tool that the enemy finally reaches for. Not a sword, not an army, a price tag. No one can buy or sell without the mark. That is the tool, is to squeeze people. If I can hit you in your pocket, in your pocket and in your stomach, I got you. Mm-hmm. You don't have to kill people who don't comply. You just have to make sure they can't eat.
Yes.
You don't have to go shooting them and go hanging them. Just make sure they don't eat. And the last day pressure is not the battlefield, is the checkout line.
And because it's not happening here, some people don't know, it's happening in other countries. There's in Africa, in some places, like they'll be giving out food, and if you don't say Allah is God, they're not going to give you no food.
That's correct.
And if you serve God, you're not going to get any of that food.
Well, and also, America gives aid to third world countries or whatever else, and say, unless you agree. Remember, they were saying before, unless you all agree with gay marriage and this, and Uganda, and Ghana said, y'all out of your mind, keep your money. Yeah. Or we'll say, unless you kill your babies because we need population control, we won't help you in this storm and things of that sort. So that's forcing people to bow down. So I wanted to say those things. That's the theology, the understanding of theology. Now let's get into the receipts, because there's some real receipts of not necessarily the mark of the beast being here, but the infrastructure is being built, especially in the West, in America, in Europe, in other places. We see the infrastructure is being built, and people are snoozed on it, because if you look at your average news station, you're not going to see it. So you got to stay for this to understand that. And then once we show the receipts, let's show what people can do and how they can make it.
Yes. Okay. So the first one is digital currency. So 146 countries and currency unions, representing over 98% of the global GDP, are exploring CBDC, central banking digital currency. That's what it stands for. Yeah. In May of 2022, which was 4 years ago, that number was 87. Now it's 87. Now 77 are in the advanced phases. 41 pilots and 3 fully launched digital currencies in Bahamas, Jamaica, and Nigeria. And then China has ECNY, more than 3.4 billion retail transactions worth about 17 trillion renminbi, about 2.3 trillion by December 2025. So they've done about 20 trillion transactions with their digital currency. And then adding on to that, America has its own cryptocurrency now, the USDC crypto coin that you can buy. It stays at $1 for now. And some people are buying it, some people are not. And don't forget all the cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, which people still don't know who created Bitcoin or what it's all about. But that's the first one.
So did I hear you say that in 2022 there were only 87 countries exploring digital central bank digital currency, and there are now 146 countries, which is almost all the countries in the world. And you need to understand what digital money actually is. When cash disappears, money stops being something you hold and becomes pure information.
Yeah.
So you need to understand money then becomes information. A number a central system can create, they can track, they can freeze or erase with a keystroke. The officials who see every transaction you make can also decline every transaction you can make. So it's control. So if you can see every transaction you make, somebody can decline it. And what will happen, what's possible that can happen when everything is digital money, somebody can say for the sake of the environment, hey, Akili, you and your wife and your family have eaten too much meat. This is not good. So we're going to cut off. If you try to swipe and buy meat, we're not going to let you. Or you've driven too much. You're using too much gas. Or you gave to a church, and we count those church terrorists because they don't believe what we can believe, and they can cut you off at the click of a button.
And for those that's saying some crazy stuff about it, there's an article from Forbes from 2012 where Target found out a teen girl was pregnant, and her dad was mad that because Target kept sending her stuff about pregnancy.
Yeah.
And so the dad went to the store and said, "Stop sending my 17-year-old daughter stuff about pregnancy." Come to find out, his daughter was pregnant and hadn't told her. And Target found out because she was shopping in different sections that mostly pregnant women shop in, not even buying baby stuff at the time. And so their algorithm knew that she was probably pregnant and sent her information.
So they were tracking.
So they were tracking everything that she was buying.
So for instance, and here's the thing. If I have cash in my pocket, very few people walk with a pocket full of money. Mm-hmm. If I have cash in my pocket, I can buy whatever I want and nobody knows what I bought. Yeah. I can give my children money.
Yes.
And nobody knows. Now, if I cash app you, you can be taxed for that.
Yep.
And it's taxable. It's tracked who I gave money to, why I gave money to. So my whole life is controlled and commodified because just as you said with the girl, we track your spending habits and things of that sort and target you to get more money.
That's why, sometimes you're talking about something and then you see an ad on Facebook or something.
Yeah.
Usually it's not because they're listening to you on your phone. They've been tracking your whole life and your life online. And so they know this is more than likely something that you'll be interested in.
Speaking of tracking your life, let's go to the next receipt. Okay, we're going to push through these things. Yep. Let's go to the next receipt.
So the identity. So this is about identity. So like your ID. So the EU made digital identity wallet mandatory in 2024. All 27 member states must provide at least one certified EU digital identity wallet to citizens by December of 2026.
That's this year.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Regulated private companies, banks, telecoms, and large platforms must accept it by 2027. So they're starting to make them have digital IDs, and you have to use it for banking and everywhere else.
And in the U.S.,
that's one of them.
Uh-huh.
In the U.S., 25 states now require you to upload a government ID or scan your face to access certain websites.
Wow.
And then in the UK, since July 2025, because Brexit and all that, but they're still doing stuff themselves, the Online Safety Act has required highly effective age checks. Typically, you got to upload your ID or a facial selfie. By February 2026, Ofcom had opened investigations into more than 90 platforms and issued 6 fines. And then one more layer, YouTube forces, because they claim it's because of AI, but they force you to scan your face in order to get revenue from them.
I've actually, I had to do that the other day.
Yeah.
And there are other
or to even
apps.
post and go live. You
got to turn sideways, turn on the side, and they're scanning your face. And
I think I did do it for the government before. For ID me. I had
That's
to do
correct.
it for that.
And you can't fly a plane now unless you have digital ID. Remember, you had.
Real ID. You have to
real
have,
ID
or your passport.
Or your and passport is a digital ID. It's a
Yeah.
real ID. So we're being controlled. And now I hope you all listen to what my son just said, because this is the part that I want to catch. Is not what people argue about online. Most people are not arguing about that. Everybody's watching the money. The market is about permission to buy and sell. And permission requires somebody knowing who you are. Mm-hmm. You can't block somebody from buying stuff if you don't know who you are. The currency is the easy part. Every system on earth already moves money. They've been moving money. What was missing was a way to verify at the moment of the transaction who exactly is standing there.
Yep,
so when you pay, your picture can come up and you go just that.
And because they already see you at Walmart if you're using self-checkout or the regular. They have cameras everywhere now.
That's correct. And it's scanning you.
And
running
while you're scanning the
who
stuff.
you are, and then you have your digital ID control. So at some point they can say, no, I don't like what Vincent Mathews said online. Mm-hmm. Shut them down. Now I have money in the bank. But because it's digital, before you can take your cash and bury it in the ground in your backyard.
Yeah,
now,
Pablo Escobar still has money buried all around.
Really?
So, a farmer found like $6 million buried in his.
What? Start digging in my yard. So, but you could do that.
Yeah.
Now you can't do that. You can't launder money. You can't hide money. You can everything.
You knew it was a power when they, you can be held in suspicion if you have more than $100,000 on you.
Right.
The police find you with a large sum of money. It's like, what if I've been saving this money for my whole life?
That's correct.
Y'all holding me in suspicion because I have a lot of cash?
So it's all about control, and that's what's being built. Not a cage. We're already in the cage. This is the lock to the cage.
Yeah.
Because now we can identify everyone. And as a matter of fact, there are people who are saying that even babies, when they're born, should have digital ID. We can track that child.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah.
And then social media.
This is our third receipt you got for us.
October 2025. So a little context. A lot of social media platforms are now starting to make sure that you're a certain age before you can use them. And they do that by taking your ID. So Discord confirmed roughly 70,000 users' government ID photos were exposed as passports, driver's licenses, through a breach at a third-party vendor handling age verification. And then, all of our social security numbers got exposed a while ago too.
Yes.
That's why it's so funny. People are like, don't tell nobody. They know. Hackers know your social security.
And with the black web and the dark web.
Yeah,
dark web.
Because data breaches happen all the time.
And people, the big commodity is people selling
information
about you, right? This is why social media is free.
Yeah.
Because then
you're the product.
You're the product. They
Yes.
would say, I can move these people to you.
And that's why influencers get paid so much to keep you on the platform. So
Right.
that they can still continue to make money off of you.
But they stole people's digital face, their IDs. You can't get a new face. You can't get a new fingerprint.
No.
Everything else about you can be reissued, but that can't. So somebody stole your facial recognition. They can now call themselves Artie Blackmaker, and now it looks like me. So when I go somewhere, I'm in trouble because that person has my face.
Yes, a while ago. It was a long time ago. Not like I'm talking about a long time. I mean like 2016. A dude who's a Hollywood makeup artist. He's a white dude wanted to rob a bank. He put a black man's face on with Hollywood makeup, and the police got somebody, and even his mother thought that he had robbed the bank.
Wow.
He almost went to jail for robbing a bank that he didn't rob.
Wow.
That's on. You can watch the news review on YouTube.
Wow. Let's keep shooting these receipts. Let's keep shooting these receipts. All
Yes.
right.
Okay. All right. So the UK Home Office has pledged to fund 40 new live facial recognition vans for town centers across England and Wales, plus 115 million over 3 years for a national center for AI in policing. And then Big Brother Watch, citing police records, records over 7 million innocent people in England and Wales were scanned by police facial recognition cameras in a single year.
Now, here's the thing. I heard last week, I just tuned in. The president was commending a young boy that saved someone that was drowning. I don't even know the whole story. And he was about 15, 16, and he saved someone in the ocean. So he had him there, and then in the Oval Office. Then they had a lot of press there. Then the press asked anything. So the boy is sitting there, he told him he did a good job. So they asked about, I forget the name of the system, should we have this in the United States, where at the corners is scanning faces. And here's the thing, people do it in the name of safety, and in the name of safety, we give up our rights. So
Yes.
what would happen is, the cameras are scanning, facial recognition scanning. Is this a bad person? Is this a good person? We can know who all were here. But then, okay, sure, if a child is kidnapped, you can find that child. But let's say you're at a rally that the government doesn't agree with.
Yeah.
Your face is scanned there. Somebody come home and come to your house and pick you. You are at a rally. Well, now,
And then it's also about data security, because data breaches happen all the time. So now somebody can get all your information and have your whole routine and know when you are or are not at home.
So once again, we're showing the infrastructure, right? Is there? You had some more you were going to share on that. I jumped in there. Yeah.
So in August, on August 7th, 2025, an executive order 14,331. Even though that's
14,331. Yeah. The mathematician.
I gotta say the numbers right.
14,331. I might have said it. Okay.
I was close to doing that. But
Yeah.
I stopped myself.
All right.
Guaranteeing fair banking for all Americans. It directs federal regulators to identify and penalize banks that closed or restricted accounts based on a customer's political or religious benefits. The SBA sent letters to over 5,000 lenders requiring them to identify, notify, and reinstate customers denied service on those grounds, with a December 2025 deadline. Among the documented targets named in congressional statements, Christian nonprofits, including one serving orphans and victims of sex trafficking.
Yeah, this is a big deal. You got to stop and hear that. This is not some preacher on a podcast speculating. This is the United States government putting on paper that Christian organizations were cut off from the banking system for what they believe and ordering it undone. This literally happened. Now, this happened years ago, right? This happened right around the prior to President Trump being elected, in those years when the president was there. The mechanism the Bible describes as not science fiction. So if we thought you were a right-leaning you were a Republican organization, we cut you. If we thought you were a Christian organization and doing something, they literally shut down their bank accounts.
Yes.
And now they're saying reinstate them. And there are people that don't like that law.
Yeah, that's
They
which
feel
is
like
crazy.
people shouldn't have the right to it. A version. So the Bible describes what the Bible describes is not science fiction. A version of it already ran in this country, in our lifetime, on people who believe what we believe.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. They shut whole nonprofits and churches down. You ain't getting no money. Your money back. We don't like what you said.
Yeah,
This happened in real life. What was the name of that again? I got it written down here too. What was the name of that? The executive order 14331 was passed in 2025 based on things that happened in the past. So if you look up executive order 14331, it is correcting what happened in the past to shut people down, and there are actual people that are getting their money. That is that there being debanked.
Yeah, basically.
Is something. Yeah. So now I'm going to do something you don't see much in this space. We talk about some things, and a lot of this mirrors what's happening in China. Now, we talk about the China social credit system. It's not perfect. It's not everywhere. But in the big cities, it's there.
Yeah.
Where a lot of what we're talking about is already happening in China. The facial recognition, finding people, debanking people, and people are rewarded for following what the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, wants done, right?
Yeah.
And so many people don't talk about that there are people who aspire to socialism, communism, what you can't have socialism or communism without God, right? With God. They need God out. So these things are serious. But when we look at that and see what's happening in China, and I've heard people in real time say there's order in China that we need to have here in America and need to have other places, they're pushing towards control. Because in China, not only do they have the social credit system in some places where literally you jaywalking on the street. This is an example everybody uses. You're jaywalking on the street and the camera sees you, identifies you, knows your bank account. It writes you a ticket and withdraws the money for the ticket before you get to the other side of the street. Now, that's not everywhere in China, but it's being rolled out, and it's a huge thing. I mean, but obviously there are 1.5 billion people, so yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it's going to take a while.
But they also have court blacklists for people who ignore legal judgments, right? The court blacklist. In 1 year, those blacklists blocked airline ticket purchases of 17 million times and train tickets over 5.5 million times, according to the Chinese government figures. In 1 year, they blocked people from leaving the areas in which they live. So if you're blacklisted, you didn't pay your bills, or you didn't fulfill something, they won't let you leave out of your area, maybe your county.
Man, and so, some people might be saying that's good.
Yeah.
I wish our government would do that.
Oh yeah, until you get picked.
Yeah.
And you say, I'm a law-abiding citizen, not according to what we believe to be the law.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want you to see the facts. And America is not building a digital dollar. We said that, right? But because in January, this is another one of your receipts, right? January 2025, an executive order halted CBDC development. Now, the interesting thing, the House passed the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act, which was H.R. 1919, barring the Federal Reserve from issuing a retail CBDC, central bank digital currency. As of mid-2026, it has not been enacted. It's still pending the Senate. So it's still going on. Middle of this year, it's still going on. Days after the House vote, the Genius Act was signed, creating a framework for privately issued dollar stable coins instead. That's where the United States is going. So, yeah, honestly, America went the opposite direction of government issued version of money. That's real. But you said there is a government version of Bitcoin.
Yeah, they already have a cryptocurrency. Yeah, that they made. Yeah. Trump made a cryptocurrency.
Is it called Fed coin? Is that what
it is? USDC, I believe it is.
Yeah, and well, people that talk about there should be a Fed coin.
Yeah.
But the catch is this, and this is what I really want people to know. The plumbing is already done. They can flip a switch, and the mark, as we know it biblically, can be enacted because there's enough control over the population in the West especially. It just gets built privately. They're just private people that's building it. Same rails, different owner, and a private company can decline your transaction too. They can say, I'm not going to do business with you. As a matter of fact, I don't want to go into even more. It just isn't a constitutional question when they do it. That's that challenge. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to look at one more thing, and there is some hope. In September of last year, in 2025, the Prime Minister in the UK announced a digital ID that would be mandatory for the right to work, and a petition passed 2.9 million signatures. And by January of this year, the government reversed the course. Digital ID will be voluntary.
Yeah.
Whew. So there's some things there are some people pushing back. Of course, like you said, UK was Brexit also.
Yeah.
So they broke free from the UK from the EU, and so they're free in that way. Yeah.
And then because Mississippi, I was just at the DMV because I had to change my license. We have a digital. You can get a digital ID now.
You can't get it. That's the only thing you can get.
I mean, like on your phone, you can get one.
Oh wow.
Yeah, on your phone, you can have your whole license on your phone now.
Wow.
And that's a twofold issue because I told Jemiah one of the reasons they want that so that you can't record. If your ID on your phone and you have to give your phone to a police officer or something, you can't record them if they're doing something they got no business doing.
Wow. An interesting quote I saw in the House of Commons in the UK in March of this year during a debate on the very scheme of digital ID and all that. The member of the parliament, which is like a senator here, said nothing is ever compulsory until it suddenly is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a politician in parliament, an official record, not a preacher, not a prophecy chart, who's saying, yeah, first it's voluntary, then it's strongly encouraged, then you need to open a bank account, and the bars of this cage are not built to trap you, they're built to make you comfortable. And lock you in so that you walk in your own 2 feet and call it convenience.
Yeah, that's why now it's comfortable right now for us because that's why you can open bank accounts with no minimums.
Yeah.
So now it's easy for anybody to get a bank account because you used to have to have a certain amount of money to have a bank account. Now you don't even need with many banks you don't even need $50 to start an account anymore.
But I want people to understand, and that's a good point, but people to understand now we're moving to the next phase because it never was a money issue. It was never the scores. It was never the seduction. It's one ancient offer wearing new technology. All of it, the mark, the money, the scores, the seduction. The data was the point, not just the money. The data that we can know who you are, what you are, track you, know everything about you, which means they can control you. Who are they? It ain't the white man. It ain't the black man. It's not the American. It's not the African. It is the spirit of Antichrist that is in the land that is doing exactly what the Bible predicted would happen. The devil made it to Jesus personally, made that same offer to Jesus personally on the high mountain with the kingdoms. And he said, the kingdoms of the world, and said, spread out. Look at all what you see. Look at all this out there. All these things I'll give you if you fall down and worship me. And that is the whole cashless cage in one sentence. Bow to us and you can have everything. And many people who say, if it don't make money, it don't make sense, will fall for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that whole cashless cage was made 2,000 years ago. I call it cashless cage in the book that I'm writing. Made 2,000 years ago, everything you want in exchange for your worship. Yeah. But Jesus said, get behind me, Satan. and we will not serve you. And notice the next verse, the devil left them and the angels came and ministered to Jesus. That was in Matthew 14. So Matthew 24:12 in the Olivet Discourse, and it's the insight nobody really talks about. It talks about the love of many will wax cold.
Yeah.
Or wax in the King James, or grow cold. Think about if you have a fully transactional world, I can't give you money. Everything is transactional. If you have a fully transactional world, what does that do to the heart of people? We become hardened. And when every relationship becomes an exchange, every person becomes a customer or a competitor, and every act of kindness becomes a calculation. I'm going to help you. You got to help me. I'm going to send it. When that happens, love, the real kind of love, not this quid pro quo, the real kind of love, the kind that gives with no receipt, freezes solid. And a cashless world is not only a control problem, it's a coldness problem.
Yes.
And you can measure man's credit down to the last decimal and never once ask whether a single soul on earth actually loves him. He got great credit, but do anybody love you? Do you have any relationships? And this is the true property of the cage. In Revelation 6, there are 4 horses, the 4 horsemen, right? One talks about the economy. It's the black horse. You know about this, right?
Yes.
There's the pale horse, there's the red horse, there's the white horse, there's the black horse, right? And what it says in Revelation 6:6, a quart of wheat for a denarius, a day's wage for a day's bread. A quart of wheat for a denarius is a day's wage. You got to work all day just to buy a loaf of bread. And do not harm the oil and the wine. You got to work all day for all of that. While the luxuries of the rich are explicitly protected, everybody else going to suffer. This is what's going to happen in the last days. The devourer will devour. The perspective that resets the complaining on this planet right now. A household bringing in even $10,000 a year is in the richest half of the human race. So we talk about privilege, right? If you're making $10,000 a year, you're in the upper 50% of all the world.
Yeah.
Right? Which means almost everybody hearing this is somebody the last day's economy will try to seduce long before it ever tries to starve you. And say, hey, you privileged. You got it going on. The cage is not coming for your poverty. It's coming for your appetite. It's coming to take you down. So what is the weapon that we start to fight with this? In 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 6 through 8, it talks about godliness. Godliness with contentment is great gain.
Yes.
We brought nothing into this world, it says, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. The systems needs you to be hungry, thirsty for what you don't have. Contentment stars the system. When we opt out, I don't have to have every designer thing. I don't have to have every trend. I don't have to have the Amazon truck pulling up to my house 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Then the system can't control you because it needs your appetite to pull you into that. What do you think about that?
Oh, I agree. I mean, because I was thinking, you're actually on the point that I was on. Because a lot of us don't need the mark for us to follow what the Antichrist has for us, or to follow the ways of the world. Because 1 John 2:15 says, do not love the world or the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him.
Yeah.
Which is funny because he says that he that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. So the love of the Father not in you, you don't know what love is anyway. And so it's really lust. And so, the lust of the flesh is what turns us away the most. Because if you have enough money, you can do whatever you want. And that's part of your issue. And then if you're not satisfied with what you have, like my phone is 4 years old. Sometimes I complain, but somebody would be glad to have this phone. This phone is 4 years old.
No, you just got that. I remember when you didn't want to get an upgrade.
It's been a long time.
Oh, I remember that. You was happy.
My phone is old.
But and who needs it? Because that phone and then one that came out this year, it's just some minor differences.
Some differences. No, my battery is
and that's designed by them.
My battery is starting to show its age. But yes, if you're focused on, you have a car, but somebody has a newer car, you want that car. As soon as your appetite gets big, the bigger your eyes are, the less kingdom-minded you are. So
our number one thing that you need to do to ward off the spirit of the Antichrist is to be content with what you have.
Philippians 4.
Yeah, I have done Philippians 4, 12 to 13. You on it, brother. I have done over 500 funerals. I've seen it all. But I've never seen nobody walk away with nothing in this world. I've even seen a family buy an expensive casket. You know the family. You might have been at the funeral. Buy an expensive casket, lower the casket down, and then they mix cement and pour the cement on it so nobody can take the stuff that's in there. Yeah. Take the nice casket they bought. You still can't take it with you. The dead person not taking it with them. They got to protect it. I've seen people put nice things in the casket. You put and then the person didn't have it anymore. The truth is, we slap. Everybody quotes Philippians 4:13.
Yes.
Now I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. Hallelujah. And I believe it. But what all things is he talking about? That's Philippians 4:12. I have found in whatever state I'm in to be content. I've learned to be up, down, hungry, full, needy, have everything. I can, and then he says, I can do all things. I can be content no matter what state I'm in. Whatever state I'm in, I can be content. And I can be broke or blessed, feast or famine. No economy on earth can manipulate me because I can ride low. If I just got to eat some beans and rice, actually, that's pretty good. Beans and rice, give me a little slice of avocado every once in a while with that. Maybe squeeze a lemon in. But beans and rice, if that's all I can get, then I'm going to be okay. I'm not going to complain because I'm eating. But if you, I just put
to add on to that, because, since our three pillars, marriage and family, if you shouldn't be getting with somebody who's too materialistic.
Right.
Because the Bible says, if you get, Paul talks about it, when you get married, your desires for your husband or your wife. So if you have somebody who's materialistic, you're going to become materialistic because your desires for that person. And then you shouldn't be giving, your kids shouldn't have everything that they want, or even have everything that you didn't have. Because now you're giving them, you're making them a lust for the things of this world, while you are fasting and praying and removing the things of this world from yourself.
And making them drones of the world.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, in Matthew 24, that same Olivet discourse, Jesus says, the Son of Man comes and you're on the rooftop, do not go back and get anything. Run. Flee, he says. Flee. Do not go back and grab anything. Flee. That everything we have should be so loosely owned that if I got to run, I will run and not worry about it. I'm going to keep on going and keep on going. And I want to talk about how Elijah was shut out the economy. Once he called down fire, we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Fire. It took them up until
it's still taking their time to figure that out.
Yeah. So when Elijah called down fire, the government was against him.
Yeah.
The queen and the king, by power of the Queen Jezebel, we want this man dead. And he was locked out of the economy, locked out of everything. But the ancient version of every account on earth it was frozen at the same time. He was frozen. But guess what God did? Where did God send this man? To a dry little creek in the middle of nowhere, and commanded ravens to bring him bread and meat, morning and everything. And you got to get this. Ravens are nasty, dirty birds.
Hey. They're bigger than...
They're hoarders, they're thieves.
A
raven would eat that food itself before sharing a crumb. But these ravens who hoard, who steal, who are, and who he couldn't even eat based on the law of the Jews, these hoarder, thief birds brought to him. God will provide. God reprogrammed the greediest birds in the sky and turned them into his Uber Eats. Okay, maybe not Uber Eats. What's another one? His food delivery service. Yeah. DoorDash.
No, don't sponsor any of it.
Yeah, we're not sponsoring none. His food delivery service. A God who can turn thieving ravens into a catering company.
Yeah.
Is not the least bit intimidated by a cashless society. So your first thing you got to do is be content.
Yeah.
And say, God got me. Seeing all this that's happening, God got me. That's the first thing. Yeah. Then you can't, listen, you got to get these pieces, because many times we know the news and then somebody just says it's over, it's done. The second thing is we got wisdom. We got to have wisdom. And if we have wisdom, wisdom is not to worry. The wisdom not to worry. Do I keep a pantry at home? Sure. We save food. I taught on that on Wake Up a couple of years ago. We should save food and store food, have stores of water, things of that sort. Some water put back. Yes, but wisdom is not worry. Right?
Worry is a misuse of imagination.
Yeah. When I'm done what a prudent man does, I look and settle the real account. Lord, you are my real. I'm going to I'm going to make sure I save some money. But if they freeze me out of my account, Lord, you are my 401k. By the way, I'm from Detroit, right? You not. I am. Well, you was born in Detroit. Yeah. So
Southville Providence Hospital, that's no longer called Providence. I think it's a Henry Ford extension.
what?
Yeah,
It's no longer Providence?
It's no longer Providence.
Wow, that's deep. Okay, so he was born in Southfield Henry Ford Hospital. In Detroit, the pensions of police officers and firemen were jacked up because the city went bankrupt. You're gonna put your trust in the city that can go bankrupt, and there are other cities across the country that did the exact same thing. I'm just going with a city that was. My trust has to be in the Lord. Worry is not wisdom. Some people say, you got to be wise, and they just worrying. No, worry over wisdom. He fed a nation with manna and arrived daily and could not be hoarded. Remember, he dropped manna with them.
Yeah.
God has never once been intimidated by the supply chain issues that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So is the mark of the beast already being built? No, but the mark, because the mark comes in the tribulation and some other things, and that's not here. But the road runs through our wallet, and the infrastructure is being put there. They are paving it. They're not doing it in secret. They're putting out in press releases, in legislation, in white papers, and you can go read it tonight. And here's what I want you to walk away holding. I want everybody that's here to know that. They can have the cage, but they cannot have me, right? They can have the cage that they want to trap you in, the society that they have. My grandfather taught me, F.T. Mathews. You remember my grandfather, your great-grandfather, taught me a man don't laugh when nothing is funny and don't scratch when nothing is itching. I haven't bowed to any man to get ahead in this life. I ain't kissed nobody, licked nobody's boots, or kissed nobody nowhere I need to kiss on. That's all I'm going to say to that. And because of that, people don't like you to be no real man. There are men who don't want you to be, they want you to be a little wussy, little soft somebody. But I ain't did none of that. And I'm not about to start bowing to a beast to keep a bank account. Because my God shall supply, that's Philippians 4:19, all my needs. Settle it now before the pressure comes, because a conviction invented in crisis usually is a conviction. It's not a conviction at all. So I'm not going to get a conviction in the crisis. I got to be convicted now.
Yeah.
So I want everybody to say it where your soul can hear you. I will worship the Lord my God, and him only will I serve. I mean that. Write it in the comments and say it out loud. I will worship the Lord my God, and him only will I serve. Don't fear the cage they're trying to lock you in. Don't take the leash. Keep your treasure somewhere no keystroke can reach. Right? There's some things you can trade. That's why some people getting gold and things of that sort with true value. But I mean, even that, because somebody, if the world is in anarchy, somebody will shoot you for that.
Yeah.
So and keep right on giving in a world that's learning to only take. I pick part of my freedom is that I'm a giver.
Yes.
That I give in a world that's saying hoard and take. A generous, contented believer is the freest human being in a transactional world.
And if you don't know, choose ye this day.
Come on.
Who you gonna serve? Because that's all it comes down to.
So this has been a wake up. I need you to share this, because this is something people need to hear. What the theology is, the receipts of what's happening, and what we need to do, and how we need to navigate it. And it may not be sexy enough for you. Well, that sounds easy. What else can I do that's not in the Bible? Listen, the Bible, what's happening today is in the Bible, and so only biblical solutions are going to deal with what we're facing.
And usually, the Bible gives simple solutions to difficult problems.
That's right.
And if you don't accept the simple solutions, you'll have leprosy when all you had to do was dip 7 times.
Wow. Well, hey.
Or you'll work for salvation when all you had to do is accept his freely given grace.
Look, I'm looking at the notes you gave me earlier. You got the footnotes to everything we quoted. You can look in the comments, and the footnotes are there. Why don't you go ahead and just put them there?
Okay.
You got it there. So you don't have to Google us. You don't have to look. The footnotes to everything we said is there, and you take it and you teach it and you preach it and you live it and you disciple your family. And what you said is so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's all I got.
So I need you to share this. I need you to comment. What do you think? Do you see these things that we talked about? Do you see the receipts that are happening? And my people, you know my favorite verse, Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And then the scripture said, because you have rejected knowledge, I will reject you and your children from being priests unto me. Thank you for being with us. This has been Wake Up. We'll see you next time. We're going deeper. We're not going deep into the swimming pool. We're going deep into the ocean. And God is going to lift us up, and we will prevail. God bless you.